Listen up, because we have a ton of system changes for 25.22 as Hail of Blades, Guardian, Triple Tonic, and Nimbus Cloak. They are all getting buffed, while Yone sneaks his way onto the buff list for a second patch in a row. So we're going to have the complete rundown for you guys in this video, as we're going to be covering all of the changes that are going to be hitting live servers this upcoming Wednesday, November 5th. So let's start off by covering all the item and rune adjustments, and first up, we have got a buff to cash back. The gold refund per legendary item purchase is going from 6 to 8%. The champs taking cash back the most in recent patches included Scion, Ivern, Twisted Fate, and Misfortune, so they'll see a small uptick in strength for this patch. Next, we have a Keystone rune buff, as Guardian's going to see its base shield increase from 45 scaling to 150 to 45 scaling to 180, and then shield AP ratio is going to go up from 15 to 25%. Braum, Renata, and Rakan are the three supports who are going to be liking this one the most, as Guardian was their most popular Keystone in recent patches. Hail of Blades is going to become stronger on melee champs as the attack speed increases, going up from 140 to 160%. The champions are going to be liking this buff the most include Pyke, Shaco, AP Cho'Gath, Tryndamere, Echo Mid, and Poppy support. The Bloodline rune in the Precision tree will see a buff for this patch, with its lifesteal per stack going from 0.35 to 0.4%, which means that max lifesteal it provides is up from 5.25 to 6%. So the majority of ADCs will benefit from this buff, along with Urgot and Yorick. The movement speed shard is very sparingly taken these days, so Riot is going to be buffing it with the movement speed going up from 2 to 2.5%. The Tenacity shard will receive a buff as well, with its tenacity and slow resist being increased from 10 to 15%. We've got a buff to Nimbus Cloak, as the movement speed is going up from 14 scaling to 40% to 15 scaling to 45%. So it's going to be a pretty minor buff to the likes of Hecarim, Vlad, Rumble, Zoe, Singed, Ivern, Nunu, Blitzcrank, Galio, Riven, and Alistar. Triple Tonic is going to receive a pretty impactful buff, as the gold that you receive from the elixir is going to go up from 40 to 60, and then the elixir of force, which provides you with the adaptive damage, is going to have its adaptive damage increased from 12 to 18 AD and from 20 to 30 AP. And then not only a Triple Tonic seeing buffs, but the other rune in that same row, being Biscuits, is getting nerfed. Biscuits are going to have their max health heal reduced from 2 to 1.5%. So definitely a lot more incentive to go for Triple Tonic now if you don't think you need the sustain from Biscuits. First strike users like Syndra, Veigar, and Misfortune, those are a few champs who can look to swap Biscuits out for Triple Tonic this patch. And then the final system change of the patch is a nerf to Phase Rush, with its slow resist going down from 75 to 50%. Now, the most common Phase Rush users in recent patches include Ryze, Hecarim, Orianna, Talia, Nunu, Vladimir, Gragas, Galio, Jace, and Garen, so they're going to be negatively impacted the most by this one. So if we take a look at all the champion buffs now, 3 champs are going to be getting stronger for this patch, all starting with Aurelion Sol. Base movement speed is going to be increased from 335 to 340. Q burst damage is going up from 55 scaling to 95 to 60 scaling to 100. Blitzcrank is going to receive a buff to his E cooldown, as it's dropping from 9 scaling to 5 seconds to 7 scaling to 5 seconds. So a nice early to mid game buff, as most players don't max their E out until second, but what actually has the best win rate is maxing it last. Regardless though, since you're maxing Q first, you won't have your E maxed out until the very earliest, level 13, so it's going to be a buff for the majority of the game for Blitz. Yone is on the buff list for a second patch in a row, and this time it's his Q base damage that's going to be increased, going from 20 scaling to 120 to 25 scaling to 125. We have 2 Akshan Nerfs on the way, with his base health dropping from 630 to 610, and then Q cooldown is being increased from 8 scaling to 5 seconds to 9 scaling to 5 seconds. The Leblanc Nerfs are going to be base stat changes, with her health growth going down from 111 to 108, and armor growth dropping from 4.7 to 4.2. Talon Jungle will receive a nerf for this patch, with his passive monster damage going down from 110 to 100%. Volibear is going to have a little bit of power shifted around in his kit, with his base AD going up from 60 to 62, base armor is up from 31 to 35, Q movement speed is going down from 12 scaling to 28% to 12 scaling to 26%, E monster damage cap is dropping from 650 to 190, scaling to 650, and then E monster damage cap will now scale with 70% AP. So these changes are definitely ones that are going to keep Vola in check as a jungler, but boost his strength up in the top lane. Skarner is going to receive a bunch of adjustments for this patch, with his AD growth going from 3 to 4. Q bonus AD ratio is being increased from 80 to 90%. He's now going to feature a bonus AD ratio, and it'll be 120%. Q cooldown is being changed from 13 scaling to 7 seconds after the first cast to now 8 scaling to 4 seconds after the last offensive action. And then R cast time is going up slightly from 0.65 0.65 to 0.75 seconds. So you're definitely going to need to watch out for Titanic Hydra Skarner and some Bruiser variation builds to pop up moving forward. Now, we are going to be watching this closely, and we will be sure to keep you guys in the loop in our future meta uploads if anything noteworthy finds its way into meta on Skarner. Okay, guys, one last thing. Our rank up guarantee is absolutely insane. It's kind of like signing up for the gym and then just getting a refund if you don't get ripped. That's how confident we are in Skillcapped. We obsess over making the best guides with the top players, the rigorous testing, and top-tier video editing to make your climb as easy as possible. If you're ready to level up, just visit skillcapped.com and literally see the difference. So that is going to wrap it all up for this one, as those are all the changes we can expect to reach live servers for 25.22, which will drop on Wednesday, November 5th. Thank you all so much for watching, and we'll see you back soon.